Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all sorts of crafts, but on today's video, I'm going to make a new shirt to wear to work tomorrow. Now I work at a high school and so this is going to be a spirit shirt. You could use this same design technique for almost anything you want though. I'm going to design it in Cricut Design Space, which I usually don't because I prefer to use an actual design program. But I know a lot of people that use Cricut Design Space, so I wanted to show you how to do this technique there. Now I'm going to put my design on this Gildan Soft Style shirt. This is kind of a heathered maroon. I usually like V-necks, but this is what I have in the house tonight, so that's what we're going with. Then I'm going to use white HTV and black HTV. I thought about this. I just didn't really like how those went together. So I'm going to use black HTV and white HTV. Then I'm going to use a Cricut maker to cut it. I'll use my Cricut mat. I have this brayer tool, my weeding tool, and then I'll press it on a heat press. Now you could use a Cricut Easy Press, but I prefer to use the heat press, so I'll use that. Now when I originally made this video and I was editing, I found that the design part was explained very poorly by me. So I'm going to recreate this. It may not look exactly like the shirt, but it is the same process, and I want to explain it in a way that makes more sense for you. All right, so this is the download that I'm using. I've already downloaded it to my computer. And here's Cricut Design Space. So let's just say new project. And then the first thing I want to do is I want to upload that print. So I click on upload, then I'll say upload image, and then I can either browse and find it on my computer, but I see it over here, so I'll drag it over. Now this is a very large print. Let me show you how big this is when it comes in. Now I don't have to do anything to it because it was already an SVG file, so I'm just going to say upload. Now that it's in my uploads, I click on it, then I say add to canvas. Okay, so it came in huge. Let me go ahead and lock the proportions. And I'm going to go ahead and put the width at 12 inches. And that is much, much better. Now, I don't want it up and down like that. So I'm going to go up to rotate. And I'll say I want to rotate it 90 degrees. Now, for now, I'm just going to move that out of the way. So I want my shirt to say Go Trojans. And the word go is going to be just a regular print, and then Trojans will be a script font. So I'm going to click on text, and then I want to go right up here to the font, click on this down arrow. This font's on my system. I don't pay for the Cricut Access, so if I use fonts on my system, it's free. All right, so I can either scroll down or just type in varsity. That's what I did. It's right here. I'll click on it. Now all I have to do is type the word go, so G-O, and I'm doing lowercase. If I did uppercase, I would have the outline, the inside. I would just have more detail than I want. So it's lowercase, then I'll click out of it, and then the proportions are locked, so I can just drag this to a size I want it, or let's say I know I want it 9 inches, I can go up here to width. With the proportions locked, I put in 9. For my design, I want there to be an outline of the letter, and then I want the insides of the letter to be filled in with the zebra print. So to accomplish that, I'm going to go ahead and say that I want an offset. And you'll see why in just a minute. So I click on offset, and you can visualize how large it is there. I think I'll go down just a little bit. Let's go to 0.23. Now to see it, I hit the return button. Then I can see what it would look like. If I like it, I hit apply. Now I think this is a good size of offset, but notice my turns are very sharp and this is rounded. To get a more sharp turn, I click right here. I am going to go ahead and have my offsets welded, and I'll say apply. Okay, so the next step, just click off of it, and then as long as you welded your offsets, you can circle around or select the whole thing and then click slice. Now I can get rid of the gray layer, I can get rid of the inside of the black, and this is exactly what I wanted. So now it's time to go ahead and fill that with my print. Now, I like to keep an extra copy of pretty much everything I'm working on. You're going to see I'll need it in just a little bit. So I'll click right here on duplicate. You could click on that, or you could do Command C for copy, Command V for paste. Now I'm just going to move that out of the way. Then I'm going to move my print right up here. Now I want to go ahead and make that smaller so I get more detail in my letters. I think that looks pretty good, so I'll just go with that. Now I would like to see what it looks like if I make it narrower, and I'll explain more why in just a minute, but for now I'm going to unlock the proportions. And then I want to try to get this just somewhere between the two sides of this part of the O. And then the same thing over here, somewhere in the middle of that G. Let me try to move it down and see what it looks like. Again, I'm going to explain why here in just a minute. I think that looks fine. Now let's see, which one is this? That's the one down there. So let's click on this one. This is the go up here. And then I'm going to hold the command button down, and I'm going to click right here on the word zebra print to get all that zebra print. Now notice I cannot slice. Slice is what I want to do, but I can't. So let's go back to the zebra print, and I need to go ahead and either weld it, or let me show you if you ungroup this. Let's see what I can get rid of down here that will make my life easier. Just gonna move that down a tiny bit. All right, so now what I can do is I can click on zebra print. I can hold the command button and select all of these. I think I have them all, so I'll weld them together. Now the reason I'm welding them together is so that I only have two objects. I'll have the zebra print and I'll have the word go. As long as you only have two things, then you can use the slice function. So let's find the right go again. That's the wrong one. You can see it's highlighted down here. So I'll go to the correct one, hold command, add the zebra print to it. Now I'm going to slice. Okay, so we can drag away the word go, or the zebra part of the word go. Now this is in pieces. That's why I needed to retain an extra. Now just to make this easier, let me turn that to a different color. And this next step is why I tried to get rid of all the excess. It's going to make it faster and easier. Now, this is the layer selected. It is the zebra print. To get rid of all those on the outside, I need to say contour. And then I just have to click on everything I want to get rid of. So I know I need to get rid of these two things and that thing down there. All these things in the middle. I don't think I want to get rid of all of that. Let's just look at it in a minute and see. All right, so now I'm going to hit this X, and I can see what it looks like. And I got rid of way too much over here and not enough in there. I must have been confused. Let me go back. Oh, I was very confused. Okay, let's put those things back. And then after I put those back, here's what I want to take out. It's the things in the middle. All right, let's look at it again and see what else needs to go. Okay, so I think I have it where I need it. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. I think that looks good. Now, when you do this process, let me show you something. You see these minuscule lines? Even if I line this up perfectly, you still have them somewhere. Like I line that up. Now I see a little bit over here. You cannot have that. Uh-oh, need to get rid of the O. Let's get rid of the middle of that O, then we can move on. All right, so with my design, I want to now weld all of this together. If you wanted to do it in a red HTV on the outside and then black in the middle, you'd be fine now. But I want it all to be connected and all to cut out as one. Now, just to really demonstrate this, let me change everything to a light yellow. This shows you where all the cut lines are, and you'd be cutting between the inside of the O and all those stripes and the outside of the O and all those stripes. So let's try to just go ahead and weld this together now. Okay, notice you still have some cut lines here because it wasn't quite connected correctly. So let's go back. I'm going to use the offset feature one more time. You could offset the lines. I just think it's easier in my mind to offset the letter. So with Go selected, I'll go right up here and I'm going to do a tiny little offset, just 0.02. I hit return, it shows me what it looks like, then I say apply. All right, so to keep the correct Go, to keep the offset one, I click on the yellow Go layer and delete it. So now let's see what happens if I weld these together. Let me turn it a light color so we can see if it worked well. Okay, now it's all connected correctly without those cut lines. All right, we're going to go ahead and change this back to a really dark gray, and then we're going to do the word Trojans. So I hit text again, and this time I want to use Bastion. It's a system font again, and so I can get rid of Varsity, and I can just put the first few letters and hit return, and there it is. Okay, so I'm going to click off of it, back on it, double clicking, and type in Trojans. All right, let me go ahead and unlock the proportions. And then I'm just going to get it to the size I want it. And for now, I'm going to turn this red. Now I want it to be fairly large. Something about like that. Let's make it a little bit taller. And then I want the T to stick up through there without my S on top of that. So what I can do is I can say ungroup, and then I can just move these letters around. I'll move that down a little bit, to the left a little bit. I'll move this down a little bit, to the left a little bit. I could even resize certain letters, like I can grab the O and I can make it a little larger. Once I'm done with the letters and I like them, I just select all the letters and I say weld. And all those cut lines went away. So this is my basic design, but I want to do one more step. I want to slice the word Trojans out of the Go. So once again, I am going to select Go, and I'm going to duplicate it in case I need that extra copy. I'll select Trojans, hold Command down, add the word Go, and I'll hit slice. Now it looks like I should have had a reserve Trojans. You could deal with that. Here's what you could do. Pick the main part of the layer, hold down the command, add what got sliced out, go back to weld. To me, it's just easier to reserve a copy. All right, so let's move that out of the way. There's what I want to keep. And then all of this is just trash. And I don't need my reserve copy, so I can delete that. All right, so that's the shirt. That's the process. I'm ready to make this. When I make this, I would need to flip it horizontally. So I can either do that on the screen, or when I say make it, on each layer, I can click on the mirror button. For the HTV that I'm using, I just use everyday iron-on setting. It works beautifully, and I honestly love this HTV. So let's go ahead and say make it. I tend to like to move mine down just a little bit, and then I need to click on mirror. Then I would say continue. And again, with this HTV, I just like this everyday iron-on setting right there with default pressure. Now my light's flashing. Again, this is a recreation, so I'm not recutting this. But at this time, I'd be ready to load up the Cricut and make the cuts. Now I do want to show you, you can use this method for all kinds of things. Like what I'm opening now, it's a very similar thing, just a different font. And I used more of a leopard print versus a zebra print. You could put flowers in there. You could put anything you want to in there. It's a really nice method to get a different look. All right, so let's look and see how this is going to be on the shirt. And before I press this on the shirt, I will do a pre-press just to get any moisture and wrinkles out of this. But I'm excited to see how it's going to look. All right, so the word go might not show up as much as I'd hoped, but it's going to be okay. Y'all, I cut off the edge of this T on accident. I was trying to say vinyl and I cut it off. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my scissors and just kind of round that off. Oh, what a mistake. But in essence, here's what it's going to look like. And it'll be really nice despite my little flaw. I'll bet nobody notices. So I'm going to turn my heat press on to 300. This says to heat it between 285 and 305, medium pressure, 12 to 15 seconds, and it's a cold peel. So what I'll do is, I'll go ahead and put Trojans on first, then I'll wait for it to cool off, peel it, then I'll add this second layer on. All right, so that is preheated. I'm going to let it cool for just a minute. Now, if you heat on a purple, a red, or a pink shirt, it might look discolored with the heat. As it cools off, that goes back to normal. All right, so I have the pads of my heat press under here. That way I can go ahead, get my design where I want it, and carry it over. Now, like I said, I want to do this layer first, but to know where this goes, I have to at least set this down on my shirt. So I'm going to use this line right here as the center, right between those, and put that pretty much directly under the tag. I don't know if you can see the tag, but it's right there. Now it looks like my shirt's a little crooked. Make sure I got everything weeded out. That looks good. And then I want my go straight. It's fairly symmetrical, so I think it would show if it's off. Now, with a round neck, you're supposed to have it about 3 inches down, I believe, so I'm going to move that down. I'm used to doing V-neck shirts. And you hug your designs pretty close to the V since it's a V-neck. This, I need to give it a little bit more space. All right, so I'm going to call that good. Then I'm just going to lay this on top for now. Oh, I need to fix that first. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of round it out. Looks pretty much like the other side, right? All right, let's get that set into place. Now I know it's not straight because these were not on top of the black. All right, let me pick this up, see what I think. And I think I need to tilt it just a little bit more. All right, that looks good. So I'm going to hold this in place, just kind of peel it this way and pull the word go out. Now for this first layer, I don't need to worry about parchment paper or a Teflon sheet. Now I can put it on if I want to. And actually, since I'm really close to the vinyl there, I probably will. But your carrier sheet protects the vinyl on the first layer. Once I uncover it and put the word go on, then I will use a Teflon sheet for sure. Now I did put a Teflon sheet just over this part of the design, just to protect in case that wasn't really covered very well with the carrier sheet. So now we wait. Now I learned the hard way that when it says it's a cool peel, you should let it cool all the way off. If you don't, when you remove your backing, it can ripple and pucker, just doesn't look good. Now this is a ceramic tile. When I'm being impatient, which is most of the time, you can put this on top of things and it helps pull the heat out. Or it infuses the coolness of the tile into what you're working on. Not sure which, but it does cool it down quickly. All right, let's see if this is going to come off. And it is. And that looks good. All right, I still have my two pads under here. So I need to get this lined up just so. And then I see that the carrier sheet is kind of in the middle of this upper part of the S. I don't want that because it can cause a little dent in that S. So I just trimmed away some of that carrier sheet so it's not on my letter. Now it's on the dot of the J, but it's all the way over it, so that's not going to be a problem. It's a little bit on the R and the O. I'll peel that back or I'll cut that back. Now, if it has to be that way, once you peel this off, you can put your heat press back on and usually it'll smooth that out. Now, there's nothing I can do right here, so we'll see how that turns out. Now this time I need to make sure I cover down here at least, so I'll probably have it about like that. And this time I'll do the full 15 seconds. Now it's the same brand of HTV, so again it's a cold peel. Now really I can barely tell where that carrier sheet was, but what I like to do, and it's especially because I like to see the texture of a Teflon sheet in my HTV. So I'll go back over, put this under the heat press one more time. I'll cover it with the Teflon sheet and I'll just do it 5 or 8 seconds. All right, now if you want to do a final press just to make sure that your HTV is really adhered to your shirt, but you don't want that texture on it, you can put parchment paper over it instead. All right, that is cute. I love this design, and I actually love the black and white design on this maroon shirt. It's very simplistic as far as the colors go, but that design with that animal print in it is adorable. And remember, even if you're not doing a spirit shirt, you can use this same process on anything that you're going to have big letters for. So I'm excited to wear this shirt to work tomorrow. It just feels nice to have something new, something fresh to wear, and it really didn't cost me much of anything. So thanks so much for watching the video and sticking it out all the way till the end. And until my next one, bye-bye. Okay, guys, I had to come back because I can barely feel this vinyl on here. I really hate a thick vinyl that just feels like it's sitting on top. This really feels like it's in the shirt well. I love it.